My daughter, may your home be filled with joy and prosperity.
I promise to love and protect you always.
Wanya chotara dia. Yeah, man.
The private jet glided smoothly through the clouds while the golden evening sunlight poured through the large windows. Oluchi sat beside Ethan, her face pressed gently against the glass. Her eyes sparkled with amazement. Every few seconds, she gasped softly. "My husband." Ethan smiled. "Yes, my village queen." "The clouds. They look like cotton. They're below us." She shook her head slowly. "When I was little, I thought only God and the angels could touch the clouds." Ethan gently held her hand. "And today, my wife is touching them." She laughed shyly. "I still feel like I'm dreaming." Samuel, who sat a few rows behind them, smiled quietly. He had worked for Ethan for many years. He had seen businessmen, politicians, celebrities, and royalty travel in this aircraft. Yet none of them had looked at the world with the wonder that Oluchi carried in her eyes. Everything amazed her. Everything made her grateful. The flight attendants served dinner. Oluchi stared at the neatly arranged plates. "My husband. Yes. Can I really eat all of this?" "It's prepared for you." She looked at the different forks and spoons. "There are too many. Which one should I use first?" Ethan laughed softly. "Whichever one makes you happy." She smiled with relief. "Then I'll use this one." She carefully picked up the spoon. The flight attendants exchanged gentle smiles. Not because they were mocking her, but because her innocence was refreshing. Unlike many wealthy passengers who complained about everything, Mrs. Williams appreciated every little thing. After dinner, Oluchi looked outside again. The city lights slowly began appearing beneath the aircraft. "My husband. Is that Lagos?" "Yes. It looks like the stars have fallen to the ground. It never sleeps." She swallowed nervously. So many people. So many houses. So many lights. She slowly leaned against him. "Will they like me?" Ethan wrapped an arm around her shoulders. "You don't have to make the city love you. You only have to be yourself." She nodded quietly. "I'll try." An hour later, the jet landed smoothly. Oluchi clapped excitedly. "We're alive." Everyone laughed warmly. As they stepped out of the aircraft, a gentle breeze welcomed them. Luxury vehicles waited nearby. Several uniformed drivers stood in line. The moment Ethan appeared, they bowed respectfully. "Welcome home, sir." "Welcome home, madam." Oluchi looked behind her. "They're greeting us?" Ethan smiled. "They're greeting you." She placed a hand on her chest. "No one has ever called me madam before." Samuel opened the back door of the black luxury limousine. "Please, madam." Oluchi hesitated. "I've never entered such a beautiful car." "You'll enter many more." She carefully sat down. The leather seats felt softer than anything she had ever touched. "My husband." "Yes. I think this chair is hugging me." Ethan burst into laughter. "It probably is." The convoy drove through Lagos. Oluchi stared through every window. Tall buildings stretched toward the sky. Bright billboards lit the roads. Elegant restaurants glowed with warm lights. Luxury stores lined the streets. "My husband. Do all these people live here?" "Millions of them." She covered her mouth. "Millions. Our entire village could fit inside one neighborhood." She couldn't believe it. Everything seemed impossible. Traffic lights fascinated her. Glass buildings reflected the moonlight. Even the bridges looked magical. Finally, the convoy entered a quiet private estate guarded by high-security gates. Huge iron gates slowly opened. The limousine rolled inside. Oluchi's eyes widened again. Flowers lined both sides of the driveway. Beautiful fountains danced under colorful lights. Palm trees swayed gently. Then she saw it. The mansion. It stood proudly in the middle of the estate. 3 magnificent floors. White marble walls. Large glass windows. Golden lights glowing warmly. Massive pillars at the entrance. "My husband." Her voice trembled. "Is this our home?" She stared silently. "Our home." "Yes." She looked around. I thought it was a hotel. He smiled. No. She whispered almost to herself. My father said kings lived in houses like this. Ethan gently took her hand. Tonight, my queen does. The front doors opened. Nearly 20 members of staff stood waiting in neat uniforms. The house manager stepped forward. Welcome home, Mr. and Mrs. Williams. Everyone bowed respectfully. Welcome home, madam. Oluchi immediately became nervous. She whispered to Ethan. They're greeting me again. They're your family now too. She smiled shyly. Good evening. Some staff smiled warmly. Others exchanged curious glances. They had expected a sophisticated city socialite. Instead, their employer had brought home a humble village girl. Inside the mansion, Oluchi stopped walking. The floor reflected like a mirror. Crystal chandeliers hung above them. Elegant paintings decorated the walls. Fresh flowers filled the air with a gentle fragrance. She slowly removed her sandals. Everyone looked surprised. Ethan noticed. My love. She held her sandals carefully. I don't want to dirty your beautiful floor. For a second, silence filled the hall. Then Ethan smiled with deep affection. Our floor isn't more important than your comfort. He knelt down himself, gently picked up her sandals, then carefully placed them back on her feet. You never have to remove your shoes in your own home. Several staff members watched in shock. They had never seen Ethan treat anyone with such tenderness. The older housekeeper, Mama Grace, smiled proudly. This marriage will be different, she whispered to herself. The butler introduced everyone one by one. This is Mama Grace, our head housekeeper. Mama Grace bowed respectfully. Welcome, my daughter. Oluchi quickly hugged her. Instead of shaking hands, Mama Grace froze, then smiled warmly. You remind me of my own daughter. Next came the chef, then the gardeners, the security chief, drivers, housemaids. Everyone introduced themselves. Oluchi tried remembering every name. If I forget, please forgive me. I want to know everyone. Many smiled genuinely, not because she was rich, because she was kind. Meanwhile, standing quietly near the staircase, a young elegant woman watched everything. Perfect makeup, expensive dress, sharp eyes. Her name was Vanessa. She served as Ethan's executive assistant. She had secretly admired Ethan for years. When she heard he was getting married, she imagined he had chosen someone from one of Lagos' richest families. Instead, a village girl, Vanessa forced a smile. Welcome home, Mrs. Williams. Oluchi smiled brightly. Thank you. I hope we'll become friends. Vanessa smiled politely. Of course. But inside, her heart burned with jealousy. She watched Ethan looking at Oluchi with admiration. Every smile he gave his wife felt like a knife. This should have been me, she thought silently. Dinner was prepared in the grand dining room. The dining table seemed endless. More than 20 chairs surrounded it. Oluchi whispered, My husband. Yes. Are we expecting visitors? No. Then why is the table so long? Ethan laughed. It came with the house. She smiled. In our village, this table could feed the whole community. Everyone laughed gently. As dinner continued, Oluchi insisted on thanking every servant who brought food. Thank you. God bless you. Thank you. The servants exchanged surprised glances. No one had ever thanked them so sincerely. After dinner, Ethan took Oluchi upstairs. This is our room. He opened the large double doors. Oluchi stood speechless. The bedroom was larger than her parents' entire house. Soft cream-colored curtains danced gently in the breeze. A massive bed stood at the center. Fresh roses decorated the room. Beyond the glass doors was a private balcony overlooking the sparkling city. She walked slowly across the room, touching the curtains, looking at the bookshelves, the elegant furniture, the photographs Ethan had already placed there, including one from their wedding. My husband. Why are you giving me all this? He looked confused. Because you're my wife. She shook her head. I brought nothing into this marriage. You brought something no money can buy. She looked at him. What? A pure heart. Tears filled her eyes. She lowered her head. I don't know how to repay your kindness. You already have. By loving me. She smiled through tears. Outside the bedroom window, the city lights glittered like thousands of stars. Oluchi stepped onto the balcony. A gentle breeze lifted her veil. She looked up toward the night sky. Quietly, she folded her hands. Lord, thank you. You took a village girl and placed her in a home she never imagined. Help me remain humble. Help me become the wife my parents raised me to be. Help me never allow wealth to change my heart. Behind her, Ethan watched silently. He realized he had not only married a beautiful woman, he had married a woman whose greatest treasure was her character. Neither of them noticed. From another balcony across the mansion, Vanessa stood in the shadows, watching them. Her eyes narrowed with quiet determination. As long as you remain in this house, she whispered to herself, I will never have the life I dreamed of. Far below, the fountains continued to dance beneath the moonlight, while inside the magnificent mansion, love had found a new home. But hidden beneath the beauty of that first peaceful night, the seeds of envy had already been planted, and neither Ethan nor Oluchi knew that their greatest test had only just begun. The first rays of the morning sun slowly filtered through the enormous floor-to-ceiling windows of the Williams mansion. Golden light spread across the polished marble floor. Outside, birds sang from the neatly trimmed gardens while fountains continued flowing peacefully. Everything was quiet. Everything felt elegant. Everything felt different. Oluchi slowly opened her eyes. For a brief moment, she became confused. The soft mattress beneath her felt nothing like the simple woven bed she had slept on all her life. She blinked several times. The high decorated ceiling, the crystal chandelier, the long silk curtains dancing with the morning breeze. Then she remembered. She smiled. I am married. She looked beside her. Ethan was still sleeping peacefully. A gentle smile rested on his face. She carefully climbed out of bed, trying not to wake him. Her bare feet touched the smooth marble floor. She quietly walked toward the balcony. As she opened the glass door, the fresh morning air greeted her. The city stretched endlessly before her. The cars already moved along distant roads. Tall buildings reflected the early sunlight. For a long time, she simply stood there. My village is probably just waking up too, she whispered. She imagined her mother sweeping the compound, her father sitting beneath the mango tree, children chasing one another through the dusty paths. A tear rolled gently down her cheek. She missed them already, but she quickly wiped it away. Mama told me not to cry. I must be strong. She folded her hands. Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing me safely here. Help me honor my husband. Help me respect everyone in this house. And never let pride enter my heart. Behind her, Ethan quietly watched from the doorway. He didn't interrupt. Instead, he smiled. He had never met someone who began every morning with gratitude. After she finished praying, she turned around. Oh, I didn't know you were awake. I wanted to hear your prayer. She blushed. I hope I wasn't too loud. You were perfect. He gently kissed her forehead. Good morning, my village queen. She smiled brightly. Good morning, my husband. I have something to show you. What is it? The sunrise over Lagos. He wrapped an arm around her shoulders. The two stood silently watching the city wake. It's beautiful, Oluchi whispered. It is. But, she looked at him. It still isn't as peaceful as my village. Ethan laughed. That is true. Maybe one day we'll spend part of every year there. Her face lit up. Really? If that's what makes you happy. She hugged him tightly. Thank you. A little later, Oluchi insisted on making breakfast. Ethan smiled. There are chefs downstairs. I know, but my mother always said that a wife should cook for her husband whenever she can. You don't have to prove anything. I know. I simply want to. Ethan finally agreed. Then let's cook together. Downstairs, the kitchen staff nearly dropped what they were doing when they saw Mr. Williams entering the kitchen wearing a simple apron. Chef Daniel blinked twice. Sir, Ethan smiled. Today, my wife is in charge. Oluchi immediately greeted everyone. Good morning. The staff answered warmly. She looked around the modern kitchen with wide eyes. So many machines. Chef Daniel smiled. I'll help you. She picked up a strange electric mixer. What does this do? It mixes food. It spins by itself? Yes. She laughed. The city really doesn't like hard work. Everyone laughed with her. Soon the kitchen filled with warm conversation. Oluchi prepared yam porridge exactly the way her mother had taught her. She added fresh vegetables, palm oil, fish, traditional spices. The rich aroma slowly filled the kitchen. Even the professional chefs looked impressed. Chef Daniel tasted a small spoonful. His eyes widened. Madam, this is excellent. She smiled shyly. It's just village cooking. No. It tastes like home. One by one, the kitchen staff tasted it. Every person smiled. Mama Grace quietly wiped away a tear. This reminds me of my childhood. Oluchi smiled warmly. Then please eat with us. The staff looked shocked. No, madam. We cannot. Why not? It isn't our place. She looked confused. In my father's house. Everyone who cooked also ate. Before anyone could answer, Ethan spoke. My wife is right. The staff exchanged surprised glances. From today, no one in this house should ever feel invisible. If my wife invites you to eat, you are welcome. Grateful smiles spread across the room. Vanessa happened to enter just in time to witness the scene. She watched silently. Again. Everyone admired Oluchi. Again. People smiled around her. Again. Her jealousy grew. After breakfast, Ethan took Oluchi on a tour of the mansion. This is the library. Thousands of books lined the shelves. Oluchi slowly walked inside. So many books. I've only read a few in my life. You can read every one of these. You'll teach me? Every evening. She smiled with excitement. I would love that. They continued. This is the music room. This is the indoor garden. This is the family lounge. This is the home cinema. Oluchi stopped. The home what? A room where we watch movies. A whole room, just for that. Ethan laughed. Yes. She shook her head. My husband. You really grew up differently. I suppose I did. But I'm happier now. Why? Because now I have someone to share it with. Outside, the gardeners worked carefully among the flowers. Oluchi walked over. Good morning. They greeted her respectfully. She noticed an elderly gardener carrying a heavy pot alone. Without hesitation, she bent down. Let me help. The old man panicked. No, madam, you shouldn't. Why? I'm strong. Together they lifted it. The gardener smiled gratefully. You remind me of my daughter. Oluchi smiled. Then today, think of me as another daughter. Several workers exchanged impressed looks. Never had a mistress of the house spoken to them like this. From an upstairs window, Vanessa watched everything. She folded her arms. This village girl is winning everyone over. She frowned. That must stop. Her eyes drifted toward Ethan, who looked at Oluchi with quiet admiration. For the first time, Vanessa realized something painful. This wasn't infatuation. This wasn't temporary excitement. Ethan truly loved his wife, and that truth made her determination even stronger. She whispered to herself, if kindness won't remove you, something else will.